Welcome back to Human Sarahkind TV. Every week, we bring you real stories of compassion from around the world. Stories that remind us what humanity looks like at its best. This week, we're covering May 24th through May 31st, 2026. And what a week it was. Let's dive in. Before we get into the individual stories, here's a quick snapshot of the week. We've got 7 stories spanning 6 countries, from Southeast Asia to Central Africa, from China to the United States, and across Europe. We saw an extraordinary multinational cave rescue, massive humanitarian aid shipments, tens of thousands of young people fighting desertification, and everyday people lifting up their neighbors. Thousands of lives were touched this week by the simple decision to care. Let's take a closer look. Our first story takes us to Laos, where 7 villagers became trapped in a flooded cave in Gye Son Bain province after flash floods sealed the entrance. What happened next was remarkable. Rescue teams from Thailand, Finland, Malaysia, Japan, Indonesia, France and Australia converged on this remote location to help. Finnish diver Mikko Pasi led an incredible 2-hour extraction on May 29th. He had to teach the first survivor to scuba dive right there in the cave. He called it a "trust me dive." By May 30th, 4 more men had crawled out on their own after teams spent days pumping water. And from their hospital beds, the survivors helped rescuers plan the search for the 2 still missing. This is what it looks like when the world comes together for strangers. Next, we move to Central Africa, where the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo was escalating rapidly. UNICEF activated its highest emergency response level and airlifted more than 100 metric tons of life-saving supplies from Copenhagen to the DRC. The shipment included protective equipment for frontline health workers, medicines and hygiene kits, enough to help nearly 100,000 people. UNICEF also allocated $5.75 million from its own resources. When a crisis hits, this is the kind of rapid mobilization that saves lives. Staying with the Ebola response, non-profit Direct Relief shipped $2.5 million worth of medical supplies from Santa Barbara, California, all the way to a clinic in Goma, DRC. That shipment included protective equipment, 4 fluids, antibiotics, and diagnostics for workers on the front lines. And that's not all. In the same week, Direct Relief delivered 196 shipments across 35 U.S. states and 13 countries. 3.6 million daily doses of medication. They also supported the VUM Foundation's pediatric cardiac mission in Nigeria, where about 940 people received care, including open-heart surgeries for children. Compassion on an industrial scale. On May 27th, the European Commission announced a major reform of its humanitarian aid strategy, committing nearly €2 billion for 2026. That funding is aimed at helping 239 million people worldwide who need assistance. The new approach is built around 3 pillars: protect, delivering aid safely; perform, making aid more efficient; and partner, building community resilience. The EU and its member states already provide the largest share of global humanitarian funding. This reform is about making every euro count even more. Now to a story that's truly inspiring. In Minqing County, Gansu Province, right on the edge of China's Gobi Desert, more than 40,000 young volunteers showed up to plant trees. They traveled at their own expense. They endured sandstorms, harsh sun, and basic living conditions. The campaign started with a local graduate named Zhong Lin, who put out a simple call on social media: come to Minqing and plant a tree. Over 3 years, more than 100,000 volunteer visits have helped restore about 1,000 hectares of desert. This county was once 94.5% desert. Now it's becoming a symbol of what grassroots action can achieve. Young people choosing shovels and saplings over tourist attractions. That's a powerful statement. This next story is one of my favorites. Davis Ruffler is a window washer in Kansas City who goes by Window Wolf online. He shows up at struggling local restaurants, offers to clean their windows for free, and while he's at it, he films their stories through his Meta glasses. The results have been incredible. Yayo's Bakery saw daily sales jump from $100 to $400 after just one video. Tasty African Food KC went from nearly empty to lines out the door before they even opened. Davis isn't just washing windows, he's telling the stories of real people behind the counter, owners who've poured everything into their small businesses. Proof that kindness and a squeegee can change lives. Our final story takes us back to the Ebola crisis, this time looking at the institutional response. The World Bank Group announced rapid mobilization on May 28, deploying health specialists, epidemiologists, and infection prevention experts to the DRC and Uganda. The U.S. Department of State confirmed over $162 million in direct assistance, plus $350 million through humanitarian pooled funds, and another $50 million for emergency response clinics. And on the ground, people like Dr. Baburu Kangeza of Save the Children were doing the hard work of building trust in communities where misinformation had led to attacks on treatment centers. When fear takes hold, it takes courage to show up and build bridges. And that's our roundup for this week. From flooded caves to desert frontlines, from hospital wards to neighborhood storefronts, this week showed us that the instinct to help is woven into who we are. If these stories moved you, please subscribe to Human Sarahkind TV. Like this video, share it with someone who needs a reminder that the world is full of good people. Until next time, be kind, stay kind, and remember, humanity is always worth believing in. See you next week.